Sounds like a deal, right? And not if you adjust for inflation. In 2021 dollars, that comes out to over...
Whoa, that is crazy. That's crazy, man. Hey guys, Tommy Bryson here. Welcome to the Tommy Bryson Show. And by the way, I've been wanting to make this video for a long time now. And the idea is, when did airplanes become so cheap? Like, you know, as far back as I can remember, it's always been water, a little bag of chips, and that was it. If you wanted anything else that was extra, well, in reality, that was gonna cost you a lot more money. And by the way, these days, it's a lot more cheaper than what it actually used to be. However, though, let's find out exactly what happened, you know, because I'm pretty sure when airplanes first became a thing, it wasn't just about, oh my gosh, they're so cheap. They were probably pretty good, okay? So let's find out exactly what actually happened, you know? Let's find out. If you guys are new here, make sure to go ahead and make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to get notified, and on top of that, also destroy the like button. It helps a lot with the channel, so go ahead and like the video, because that way I make more videos like this one right here. Without further ado though, let's find out exactly what the heck actually happened with airlines.
Excuse me, ma'am. You had the lobster?
Ah, yes.
Oh, that's so cool. I love these people, man. Like, their animation is so cool.
Some champagne?
Yes, please.
No way. Did it used to be like that? No way.
Peanuts?
Peanuts?
That's what it's like today. You know, peanuts and that's about it.
Where's my lobster?
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We just want to thank you for arriving at the airport 2 hours before your flight and enduring all those long lines. You'll be...
Oh my gosh. I wonder if it used to be more simpler back in the days.
Pleased to know we've already charged your credit card for that awful turkey sandwich you ordered, but don't worry about the peanuts. Those are on the house.
Oh my gosh. And by the way, I like their little snacks, you know. I like them.
Flying wasn't always the headache it is today. Airlines
But by the way, flying back then must have been so much different. Look at this. Look at this.
used to look more like cocktail parties where everyone dressed up, 3-course meals were served, and
But then again, this is more like the wealthy, right? Like so the wealthy had all these things, you know what I mean? So like, imagine what an airline ticket used to be back then. Probably a lot more expensive.
you walked off the plane with travel bags filled with toothpaste, deodorant, and other life essentials.
Oh my God. You can't have that now. Not at all. They check everything. Any liquid is over for you. It's just a lot more different.
Why did it change? To answer that, we'll need to take a trip through history, economics, and politics. So fasten your seatbelts.
I think it's just more like it changed, right? We had like, obviously things happened that made security a priority, but not more important, I should say. But a point is also, for example, when you're trying to have more money being made, well, what do? You try to make it as efficient as possible. Try to fit as many people cramped up in one space possible. That way you can make more money.
And prepare for takeoff.
And by the way, this is like a standard, right? So it's not just like one airline is like this. No, some airlines, like, they give you like maybe water and like a soda, and then some airlines don't give you anything. You know, you got to pay for those extras. 2 cents. I love these people.
Flying didn't become popular until what many call the golden age of aviation. There's no clear consensus on when this began. Some historians...
That's interesting, you know. To think about flying, man. Flying. Like, think about how crazy it actually is that we can actually just go from this place to that place in just a few hours. It's crazy. When people literally just didn't travel at all because they couldn't, because it was that hard. Like, it was like a lifetime to go, from example, from the New York side of the island all the way to the California part of the island. Oh my gosh, the Appalachian Mountains and all that stuff, all those terrains. But now you can be there like in 4 hours. It's crazy.
Date it back to the 1930s or even earlier.
No way, we had planes back in 1930. That's crazy. Yeah, we did, right? That's crazy to think about it, huh? That was like, what is it, like 90 years ago?
While others think it started in the late 50s when jets were integrated into the market. Regardless of its origins, passengers during this time were treated like royalty.
Oh my god.
Meals included dishes such as smoked salmon and caviar.
Ooh, I don't eat caviar. I like salmon. I don't like caviar though. Like I don't really like expensive things. You know, I think my taste buds are just like, they're so broke. You know what I mean? Like I just don't have this type of taste. But I do want to acquire some of it. You know, like taste some of the finer things in life. But I just can't think about like having fish eggs in my mouth. But then you have chicken eggs in your mouth, Tommy. So what's the difference? I don't know. I don't know.
Drink
okay?
offerings ranged from fancy cocktails to French wines. Some planes
Ooh.
even had winding staircases into
Look at that. And look at this kid. This kid is walking on an airplane. Have you ever seen that? That doesn't happen anymore.
rooms. It was like a better version of first class, except pretty much everyone was first class.
Did they believe in turbulence back then? Was there turbulence back then? Because all this like champagne and stuff like that, like we had to have some like, you know what I'm saying, like splash all over everybody.
As far back as 1938, most domestic flights in America were regulated by the government. They had control over fares, routes, schedules, investigations, certifications, market entry of
That must have been so inefficient because you know the government is slow.
new airlines, so pretty much everything. But with federal regulation came a lot of turbulence. One of the biggest problems during this time was cost. The government wanted to make sure airlines made more than enough money. So unless it was a short trip, you could expect some pretty outrageous prices.
I'm telling you guys, man. I'm telling you guys, things are different. You know, I think would I rather have back then like luxury, you know, or would I just rather have efficient travel where I save a lot of money? Probably the latter, right? Just have efficient travel, honestly. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be there for 2-3 hours, but then how often do you actually travel to make this like a massive thing?
How much exactly? To give you an idea, a flight from Los Angeles to New York in June 1959 cost about $170.
Is that a lot? Is that a lot? Well, you have inflation to think about, right? So how much is that in our money?
Sounds like a deal, right? And not if you adjust for inflation. In 2021 dollars, that comes out to over...
Whoa, that is crazy. So just for perspective, guys, okay, look at this, okay? I just found some tickets, some flights right here for like around $78, the cheapest, and $217, $23, that is what we pay today. That's literally around like almost 10 times cheaper than this flight right here. Again, I rather efficiency and low cost than this.
$1,500. No wonder the service was so great. They
It had to
were
be.
desperately trying to get people to dish out what back then was a good chunk of their income.
It's $1,500, man. That's crazy.
Unfortunately, high cost wasn't the only problem. It also took longer to reach your destination.
Why? Oh, because of the routes?
These days, you can fly cross-country direct, or at worst, a stop or two. But back then, one cross-country trip could have as many as 5 layovers.
That is crazy. I cannot stand layovers. What was wrong? Like the efficiency of the fuel in jets?
That could double your travel time.
And if you missed your flight, you probably couldn't catch another one until the next day or even the following week.
Oh, yeah, because you had less volume, because also less demand, because the prices were so high. Guys, I'm happy with what we have today. You know what I mean? I'm pretty happy with what we have
Fewer
today.
flights existed back then, and airlines had to apply for new routes, which in some cases took years to get.
This is the government stuff, man. I'm telling you, man, this government stuff is crazy. You know, one thing I will say is this. I'd rather have, you know, when you let the market take over, they find out what people care about. Do they care about the caviar, the salmon? The answer is no. And the people that do care about that stuff are willing to pay extra money. But the common person, the average person like you and I, we care about getting from point A to point B. And so might as well just lower the prices like crazy, give you peanuts, and call it a day. If you want to fly first class and get all this fancy caviar stuff, then pay an extra like $300 for that stuff. You can have it if you want to.
Approved, if they got approved at all. Top of that, you had to deal with passengers smoking. Something
Oh my gosh, I cannot stand that. It's disgusting.
that wasn't completely outlawed until the year 2000.
That's crazy. It took that long to actually outlaw smoking in the plane?
Planes also tended to be much louder back then, and many weren't able to fly over extreme weather.
Yeah, I mean, so that's what I'm saying. Like, you have all these fancy things, but then you have for example, like your champagne, your caviar is all over your shirt, and you're also making 5 stops. I'm happy where we are, guys.
So it wasn't uncommon for turbulence to cause broken glass, injuries, air sickness.
Oh my God.
Safety was another
Look, this guy has a tattoo. I didn't know he had a tattoo, guys. Look, the tattoo's right here. What does he have, like a turtle, like a flower? What does this guy got there?
major concern. Today, it's incredibly rare for a commercial airline to crash.
Yeah, for sure.
Back then, it happened half a dozen times a year. And
What? What? 44 per 100 million aircraft miles. We have 0.07 deaths per billion. I'm happy where we are, guys. I'm telling you, man. I don't want none of this stuff, man. I like where we are. Imagine that. That's like super. It's not crazy risky, right? It's 100 million miles, obviously, but 44 people, but it still matters, you know. I'd rather see this number right here, you know. I'd rather hear the statistics where they say, you know, flying a car is less safe than an airplane. That's all.
And in some years, hijackings happened on a weekly basis.
What?
Thankfully, in the 1970s, politicians said enough is enough. The recent bankruptcy of the heavily regulated
Boston and Maine Corporation, Penn Central Transportation, Lehigh Valley Railroad. Oh my gosh.
railroads convinced Congress of what economists had been saying for decades.
Let the market take over. Laissez-faire.
That it was the regulation itself causing higher costs and inefficiencies.
Exactly.
The Carter administration finally agreed that everyone would benefit from new players in the market, less control over routes, and the abolishment of price regulations. But
There you go.
this didn't sit well with the airlines, since it meant their income wouldn't be guaranteed.
But their plea to
But it's part of the game.
maintain the rigid status quo was unconvincing. And in 1978, the government began its departure out of the airline industry. Well,
I didn't even know about this stuff, man. This is crazy how much you learn from these videos.
aside from safety inspections and air traffic control, which it still handles to this day.
As expected, deregulation led to competition in the marketplace, which naturally led to lower costs since everyone was competing for customers.
Yeah, I like free markets, man.
Plane tickets, including fees, dropped by 50% between 1979 and 2011,
That's awesome.
causing the number of passengers to triple,
Yeah, more customers.
which is great for flyers, not so much for the airlines. 8 major carriers
That's one thing though, right? That's one big thing, right? Where you play this competition game where I'm gonna lower my prices, and then before you know it, you're in this massive stupid business where nobody makes money. And the airline business is partly like that. A lot of them are basically not making any money, and a lot of them did go bankrupt. And it's like there's some businesses out there, guys, that basically it all comes down to the last 2 to 3 big players, and those are the people that are gonna make the most money. Like for example, like the phone industry. Well, who do you have? You have, for example, T-Mobile and Verizon and AT&T. You had Sprint, but Sprint got swallowed up by T-Mobile. Airlines, you have, for example, Virgin Airlines. You have American Airlines, which got swallowed up also, I think. You have Delta, and you have Southwest. But then after that, you don't really have that many players. And the new players right now, they're like running, for example, like Underground, where it's basically like, hey, we have no cost, but we charge you for breathing on the plane. It's just a different type of business.
and over 100 smaller ones went bankrupt or were
It's part of the game.
liquidated by 2001. And the ones
Or part of the game.
who survived had struggled to be profitable, sometimes even requiring government bailouts.
So it's not the first time that's happened.
They've tried to make it up in fees. Perhaps you've noticed there are fees for everything these days, from checking bags to changing your flight. This
Yeah.
has become a multi-billion-dollar side hustle for airlines, but unfortunately for them, it hasn't been enough. The airlines still see thin profit margins.
Look at this, guys. 5.2%. Post-pandemic is 9.4%. Obviously, you know, because we were running at lower capacities and so on.
In the years they come out.
This is what I'm telling you, man. Like, in a way, when you're buying a company stock, you have to be able to do all this research and find exactly how does this business actually operate.
Ahead at all.
And that's why the amazing service of the golden age has declined. Airlines simply don't have the funds or incentives to lavish passengers in luxury. But now that costs are so low, a lot
More people just fly.
more people can travel, which is
That's awesome.
Led to crowded airports, long lines, and sitting closer to strangers than any of us would prefer.
But if you don't want that, then just fly first class. Or for example, like, yeah, fly first class, you get let in a lot simpler and all that stuff. But I like this lifestyle a lot more, I'm not gonna lie.
This is the complete opposite of the golden age, when planes used to be
The golden age, when planes used to be like this crazy expensive thing and only the rich could afford it, and you had a whole bunch of crashes and a bunch of layovers. I don't call that the golden age.
much less packed, since only the wealthy
Look at these people playing chess.
could afford it. Now, you're lucky if the seat next
Look at the ladies. they're putting the thing on her
to
and
you is
everything.
even empty.
Seat pitches have also shrunk over the years. This is the distance between your seat and the seat
Wow,
in front of you. It has
look at
decreased
that.
by 4 to 7 inches.
Yeah, I didn't notice that, right? And it used to go if like you could like go down like a lot back more to now you can only like just like go back a little bit like this, and that's it. And that's it.
In an effort to fit more people on the plane. Goodbye, legroom.
If you really want to return to the golden age service of the past, you can always fly first class.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll just have to pay golden age prices.
Not even golden age prices. It's a lot cheaper than that. It's not like it's not even $1,000. It's like more like 200. If the normal flight is 200, you'll pay the first like another $400. I've never flown first class, by the way, and I'm not going to.
But there are ways around this. If you try to upgrade a coach ticket to first class the day of your flight, they might offer you discounts. Or you could buy a coach ticket and use frequent flyer points to cover a first class upgrade.
As we begin our final descent on this episode, we just want to say, we get it. Modern air travel is a drag. No one wants
What? Are people crazy, man? This stuff is awesome. I don't agree with this at all. I think modern air travel is such a cool thing. It is so awesome. I think it's like a miracle. Like, how crazy is that?
to arrive at an airport.
Imagine 200 people. It's like 200 people, right? Because you have like 25 rows. You have 25 rows. Is it 24 rows? Yeah, 24 rows. 3 on each side. So that's on one side. You have, for example, like 74 people. The other side, another 74 people. It's like almost like 150 people, right? Like 100, yeah, almost like 150 people on one plane, almost 200 on certain planes. Imagine like that was not possible. I like it. I just agree.
2 hours early, wait in line, and sit in uncomfortable seats eating peanuts. That makes it easy to long for the past, but don't forget that the past had problems too.
Yeah.
From costly fares to excessive layovers to the increased chance of dying in a fiery crash.
That's quite a perk. While we lost fancy cocktails and food served on real china, we gained safer.
I don't get this China thing, man. This China thing was so stupid. Like, why do you care that the plates are like China? I don't even understand it, you know?
quicker, more affordable air travel. With Wi-Fi. Don't take it for granted.
Oh yeah, at least we have Wi-Fi now.
And
That's our 2 cents.
All right, guys, that is the end of this video, man. I really like this couple, man. They do great work. I think they just had a baby, so that's pretty awesome. But overall, I like these ages. But it's nice to find out, like, hey, here's why things actually change. You know, the government had control over it, try to make it fancy, because the price was so expensive. Then they finally could go out of control, and the market, because by the way, the market adjusts to whatever the people want. It's just that simple. So if this is what we have, it's because that's what the people are willing to pay for. And if you're like more wealthy or you just want to be fancy, well, just get first class tickets, okay? Just get first class tickets. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified. Make sure to smash the like button. Helps a lot with this videos, by the way. On top, if you want to call me, join me on my third channel called Ask Bryson, where I take calls from Monday to Friday. 12 p.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern. The link is down below. On top of also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, follow me here on Instagram at Tommy Bryson. And lastly, if you want to watch more videos on this channel, here's another video right here, and click my face right here. And as always, peace. By the way, calls are free.